All right, now joining us is R. Couri Hay, who will be with us for the next couple of weeks. R. Couri Hay, the gossip guru.
Hi, Regis. How are you doing?
Nice to have you on our show.
Thank you very much. I want to talk about Liza Minnelli. As you know, a few months ago, she checked herself into the Betty Ford Clinic. Yeah, for a booze and drug problem that was wrecking both her career and her personal life. When she emerged, the world saw a new, thinner, addiction-free Liza. But I'm sorry to say, I'm sorry to report that she's fallen off the wagon as far as drinking concerned. Eyewitnesses on both coasts tell me that she's drinking again. Now, first it was brandy with Princess Stephanie of Monaco, who had her own cocaine and drug problem, as you know. And then, just a few days ago, here in New York, it was beer and wine with Mia Farrow. Now, look, Liza, life may be a cabaret, but do yourself a favor and stick to the stage and stay away from the bar. Now, I've got some good news about Doris Day. She'll be doing her first record album in 20 years. It'll be produced by her son, Terry Meltzner. Unfortunately, recording the record and her devotion to finding dogs, homeless dogs, has forced her to turn down Katharine Hepburn's offer to co-star in the movie version of Kate's last Broadway play, The West Side Waltz. Now, Kate, what about using Dorothy Loudon, who was so good, and she, of course, originated the role here on Broadway. And let's hope that Doris will fulfill her promise to Rock Hudson and make her big screen comeback with him after her record is out. Now, following in the footsteps of Marlon Brando and Martin Sheen, Bill Cosby has shocked Hollywood and the world by requesting his name to be withdrawn from competition as the best actor in a TV series for the Golden Globe Awards. Bill says he does not want to compete with his peers, and the committee, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, has refused his request. They say it's not a competition. Now, the series producers have reserved a table for 12 at the awards, but Cosby says he will not attend. Get over it, Bill. I mean, you haven't had a nomination for years. The show has been nominated as the best series. Why not support the other actors who are thrilled with the nominations? Now, my friend Alan Thicke has had a rough year. You know, his show was canceled, his soap star wife, Gloria Waring, has divorced him, and recently a girl claiming to be Carol Burnett's daughter, Kerry Hamilton, got a job in his staff. One night, Alan needed a babysitter, so the girl volunteered. When Alan returned that night, the girl was gone, and so was $25,000 worth of jewels and other valuables. So, Thicke was tricked. Now, the police told him that this girl is not Burnett's daughter, and she'd pulled this scam before. Sometimes I think, Alan, maybe you should just never have left Canada. Now, Regis, were you thrilled and exciting to see Elizabeth Taylor and Dennis Stein at the wedding of Claudia Cohen?
I wasn't at the wedding.
You didn't go?
No, I wasn't invited.
She didn't invite you?
She didn't invite me. It was really for family.
Oh, come on. When did Elizabeth Taylor become family? Anyway, look, let me tell you the inside scoop. It was a miracle she even got there at all on time. Now, the reason was not because she was dressing and putting on her makeup.
Are we talking about Liz or Claudia?
We're talking about Elizabeth, okay? The reason is that when Dennis Stein returned from Switzerland with Elizabeth Taylor, he got to his apartment and he opened his drawer to pull out one of his 20 watches, some of them given to him by Frank Sinatra, and put on a pair of cufflinks, and guess what? Gone, robbed. $100,000 worth of jewelry, gone.
Dennis Stein has $100,000 worth of jewelry?
Yeah, Dennis is saving up the bucks, and they're gone. A lot of them were given to him, as I said, by Sinatra. Now, so there he was, no watch, but you know, actually, Elizabeth Taylor was 10 minutes early to that wedding.
No kidding.
I think that Dennis Stein may turn out to be a pretty good influence on Elizabeth. And no drinking. Liz has not touched the bottle, but unfortunately, she is smoking a lot, when she never did before. She's up to about 3 packs a day right now.
Did you go to the wedding?
No, I didn't. I wasn't invited either.
What did you hear about it? Big? Awesome?
I heard it was nice and quiet and family-like.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a small family.
Claudia did say, Dennis called up Claudia and said, look, I think we're going to be a little bit late. You know, Elizabeth is busy dressing. And Claudia said, look, this wedding starts at 11, with you or without you.
Whoa! She'd wait a few minutes for the Barbarian, but not for Liz Taylor, I'll tell you that. All right, thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow, okay?
No, not tomorrow.
No?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I can't get up this early every day, Regis.
No,
How
it's
do
too
you
much
do
of a strain. It beats me. Back now with R. Couri Hay, who was engaged in a very spirited conversation yesterday on the 5 o'clock Eyewitness News with Tracy Egan and Jessica James about the value of gossip columnists. It was very good, I thought.
Thank you, Regis.
Yeah.
I think that my point, of course, was that the First Amendment, which is no accident that it is the First Amendment, provides the chance for everyone to have a different point of view. And of course, I have my own
with that,
point
but you
of
know
view.
what the knock is that sometimes people in your category have a tendency to look for the sour and the worst in other people and report on that, and that's what everybody objects to.
I just look for the truth. I think I leave it to the viewers to decide if it's sour or not. I mean, I'm just going to tell you the truth.
All right, well, I hope you have some good news today.
Well, I've got some exciting news. Last night, I went to the tribute that the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences paid to Myrna Loy.
Yes.
You know, Myrna, 100 films, including, of course, the Thin Man series, William Powell. For the last 2 years, she's been waging and winning a battle with cancer, and I'm happy to report point that she's completely in remission.
Oh,
that was
good.
really star-studded last night. Lena Horne, Lauren Bacall, a very embarrassing Burt Reynolds who chewed gum on the stage and made wisecracks that actually brought boos and hisses from the balconies. Now, Maureen Stapleton was there, Helen Hayes, and Robert Mitchum appeared somehow dazed and couldn't even manage to project his voice in Carnegie Hall, even with microphones, to the balconies. The tribute, of course, I think has been long overdue and well-deserved. Now, on either side of the stage, there were these two giant Oscars, and I'm disappointed and want to suggest that the Academy provide an honorary Oscar for Myrna Loy, the talented and courageous Myrna Loy, the way they did for Loretta Young and Gene Kelly.
You mean on the Oscar cast itself?
Yes, I do, and they're not going to do that, and I think they should have. I think it's too bad they haven't.
Now, somebody told me that Burt was very funny last night.
Well, some people thought he was funny, and I thought he was like, I know I talk fast, but he was like painfully slow. I mean, you were embarrassed for him. I don't think it was one of his best appearances. I really don't. Now, Mr. T is acting like a real-life hero in Los Angeles. For the past 2 weeks, he's been meeting some of the 42 children involved in the McMartin preschool child abuse scandal. You know about that, right? Mm-hmm. The accused are facing some 270 felony counts of rape and sodomy against children from 2 to 5 years old. Mr. T's announced that he's going to go to the trial and sit there with the children, providing psychological courage and protection for them. Already, he's helped a little 5-year-old girl find the strength to provide details about her rape to the DA, and a 4-year-old boy who hasn't been able to sleep for 7 months, even with the help of months and months of therapy, has finally got a good night's sleep after spending just 3 hours with Mr. T.
Maybe Mr. T can help me when he's finished with them. I haven't had a good night's sleep in a long time.
Have you been raped lately? Okay.
No, I just haven't had a good night's sleep.
I see. All right. Well, hey, the sour and the dirty. Hey,
thank you.
You have no fear from me. Richard Pryor has had a love child. He's revealed at a recent AA meeting in Los Angeles that he's just become the proud father of a new baby boy. Now, I'm not going to reveal the name of the mother because she's not a public figure. See? Nice guy me. However, I will tell you he split from his last wife, Jennifer Lee, in 1982, and she is not the mother. He now has 5 children. Now, Mary Tyler Moore was flying from Los Angeles to New York City on the very ultra-ritzy Regent Airlines. They feature private compartments, but she didn't have one. You know, Lush Life, Linda Ronstadt had one, and Mary wanted to screen a movie. So Linda very nicely offered to share her compartment. So Mary settled in, and the opening credits in the film went up, and Mary lit up a cigarette. Well, Linda freaked out. I mean, Linda says, the delicate vocal cords, Mary, you can't smoke here, and blah, blah, blah. And, of course, Mary left in a huff and a puff. Now, Johnny Carson is liquidating some of his assets, I assume, to pay off Joanna Carson. He just sold his Trump Tower apartment for a $2.5 million profit. And he sold his Malibu beach house for $3 million to, guess who? Tennis bad boy and star John McEnroe. Now, I'm assuming that he's probably going to use this as a love nest for his new girlfriend, Tatum O'Neal. I mean, they are closer than the strings in his racket right now. In fact, on a recent flight from L.A. to New York, they came on a plane that featured a bed. Now, I hear, it's rumored, they've become members of the very exclusive Mile High Club. Now, this is a family show, and I'm not quite sure how to explain this, but Regis...
Well, then don't.
Go ahead, you tell them.
No, absolutely. Well, congratulations to them.
And I'll be back tomorrow.
Will you really?
Yeah, more stuff.
More good news. Okay. Couri Hay, and still to come, some financial tips that'll make your money grow in '85. And next, hair tips from an international hairstylist. Couri Hay joining us now. I just read in the paper here that Joanna wants more than the $44,000 a month that Johnny is paying her. She can't make it on $44,000 a month.
Hey, it's rough. It's rough when you've been living on, you know, probably $10 million a year. I mean, she was used to a very high lifestyle. Don't forget, 10 years of her life. I think she deserves it, every single penny of it.
Okay, Couri, what do you got for us
Last night, I had a close encounter of the third kind. I walked through a deep-throated alien creature. I was greeted and blasted by Barbarella with a gun. I was confronted by a mad scientist and weird space creatures, and I wasn't on the subway. I was at Area, New York City's most original and bizarre and avant-garde nightclub, where a beautiful woman in a diamond tiara could be upstaged by a beautiful boy with blue hair and a ball gown. Every 6 weeks, the entire interior of the club is transformed with a new theme. The new theme is science fiction. It costs $50,000, and it's fabulous. Now, someone often mistaken for an alien creature is Boy George, who with British songstress Marilyn, who was also a boy, got in a very heated tiff the other night at Area over a pretty young thing. It was hot enough to melt their makeup and draw stares from the fans. Luckily, it did not for their faces, Regis. It did not come to blows. Now, Robert De Niro's latest film, Falling in Love, fell flat in its face, and he almost did the same thing the other night at Area when he tried to avoid the crowd and sneak in through the exit door. The guards stopped him, and before you could say, "Raging Bull," boom, 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 Luckily, the owner stopped the scuffle and escorted De Niro inside, apologizing all the way. Now, heartthrob Matt Dillon's newest film, Flamingo Kid, proves he's not only just a pretty face, but he can talk. Were you surprised at that?
Yeah.
Anyway, he raised eyebrows when he was fascinated by the fish tank area that has 6 live sharks in it. He asked to pet them. Well, it was a pretty odd request, even for the patrons of area, but the owner said, okay. So Daredevil Dillon stuck his hand into the tank and started stroking the sharks, shocking the onlookers. Maybe, Regis, he was auditioning for Jaws 4.
Could be.
Now, Tony Danza, whose new TV show is called Who's the Boss, had them asking a different question at Area the other night, like, who's the maniac? Especially the person inside a bathroom stall that Tony and several of his friends wanted to get into. Tony was no longer able to contain himself and began banging on the door, just like a big bad wolf trying to get the 3 little pigs. Well, momentarily the door opened and out walked a very surprised young lady. Another young lady, a beautiful blonde to be exact, went bananas the other night when Senator Ted Kennedy walked into the club very late. Now, no sooner had he arrived than the lady, who must be a Democrat, saw Ted and ran over to him and said how much she admired him. Now, Ted appreciated this comment until she started kissing his hand and kissing his hand and kissing his hand. Ted couldn't take it anymore, pulled his hand away and dashed out the door. Now, Regis, that's the first time I've ever heard of Ted Kennedy running away from a pretty blonde. Now, Regis, I know you like good news, but life has its tragedies.
Yes.
And David Bowie's 47-year-old brother, Terry, attempted to kill himself 3 weeks ago by throwing himself in front of a moving train. He was stopped. But last night, I'm sorry to report, he succeeded. Terry was a schizophrenic. It has been reported that Bowie was estranged from his brother because he feared that somehow his illness might rub off on him. Now, to end on a quick upbeat note, Elizabeth Taylor's fiancé, Dennis Stein, is telling pals he'll ask Regis Frank Sinatra, whose wife Barbara introduced the pair to be the best man at his wedding.
No kidding.
That's what I hear.
Did they set a date yet?
They haven't set a date yet. And let's wait, because after all, her last fiancé, Victor Lunar, was trying to set a date too. So let's just wait and see what happens. But you know what? I think this one is going to happen.
Well, we'll have to be patient and wait, I guess. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Couri. We'll be right back.
No, Regis, not that one. A real flower.
I tried to get myself a flower like Couri Hay and I pulled the whole thing out.
Spiff it up.
That's all right. That's okay.
All right.
I don't have a hole here anyway. So,
where are you looking?
How you doing?
I'm fine, and you?
Good.
Now wake up, I've got some hot gossip to
okay, we're all tense.
Oh, no, okay. Now, I know that you've talked about Joan Collins and Linda Evans. I'm going to tell you a secret. Now, you know, every week on Dynasty, they battle. I mean, they're clawing their eyes out, but in actuality, they're very good friends. And to prove it to the whole world, Joan has asked Linda to be the matron of honor at her upcoming wedding. And she's accepted, but don't get excited. There's no date set. You know, there are a lot of these fiancé things happening. Now, as you know, the literary world lost a giant when Truman Capote died, but I've got an undiscovered secret about some work he did. He was actually a visual artist. He took wooden boxes that were used as first aid kits for snakebite victims and created artworks. Each one had a different theme. He conveyed it through a collage of pictures. Now, about a particular subject. Now, there were 25 of them, but the 2 most fascinating ones were one about Marilyn Monroe, who was a close friend. Pictures of Marilyn throughout her whole life with Montgomery Clift, and one side of the box was black and the other white to show the good and bad forces in her life. Now, the other one is a bizarre one. It's about Jackie Onassis' sister, Princess Lee Radswell. Now, I can't describe this completely, but let's say they took Lee's head with diamond earrings and superimposed it on a porno star with the Grand Canyon in the background. Now, Truman had actually planned to exhibit these boxes, but they're missing. I know where they are, and they're going to be returned to the estate. No, they're not at my house. I wish they were. And they're going to be returned, and I'm hoping the executive of the estate will make his last dream come true and show them. Now, Bill Cosby's new series is a great big hit. Have you been watching it?
Yes.
Do you like it?
Sure,
okay.
love it.
All right, but, okay, that's on TV, but in real life, he didn't win any new fans at a Manhattan nightclub. He went with 3 friends, and he was treated like a prince. They gave him free Dom Perignon champagne. They didn't charge him for the show. I mean, that's $100 a bottle, that champagne. At the end of the night, he reached in his pocket, rail deep, and he took out 85 cents and put it on the waitress's tray. 85 cents. And to add insult to injury, he told the waitress, "This is for all the starving actresses in America." Now, she was shocked and she was hurt. And with all that money he makes, Regis, I mean, what do you think, $20? $100?
Yeah, well, why is it up to Regis to say,
well,
how do you know he didn't give her more on the side?
I know very well because we know, okay? We know. Now, just because you're a star, Bill, that's no excuse for bad behavior. Now, Ricky Schroeder, do you like Ricky Schroeder? Silver Spoon,
I'm afraid to say yes, because what did he do, strangle the Pope or something?
No. No, he hasn't. Now, Regis, come on, not everyone acts badly. He has actually been driven in action when he recently discovered a 3-year-old friend of his had become one of the thousands of children that are missing, reported missing in the country. Now, he is actually spearheading a campaign now to raise the country's consciousness on this very severe problem. He's designed bracelets, similar to the ones they gave about the POWs during the Vietnam War, and it's going to have their birth date on it and the date of their disappearance, and he's enlisted the aid of First Lady Nancy Reagan. And he's going to give her a 14-karat gold copy of the bracelet. I mean, I don't think she'd wear a stainless, right? It'll have the name of Laura Bradbury on it, and he's hoping she'll wear it until little Laura is found.
Good.
Now, it may be back to jail for Sophia Loren. The Italian government is actually making very, very serious threats to put her back behind bars if she doesn't come up with that $400,000 she still owes in back taxes. Whoa, you want to lend it to her?
So if she goes back to Italy, they'll put her in jail?
They're actually, they're going to start court action. I mean, she still owes $400,000. Now, she's got that kind of money. Maybe you can lend it to her.
No, I can't lend it to her. I hope she has it, though, boy.
Now, look, if you're giving, I want to give you a tip.
Yeah.
If you're giving an interview and Sylvester Stallone is around, be prepared to duck. Okay? Now, recently, Stallone was eavesdropping on an interview given by his First Blood Part 2 co-star Richard Crenna. And Stallone thought he was being a little too serious. So he picked up a coconut cream pie. I don't have one here, Regis, don't get nervous. And he threw it right in his face. Now, that unique sense of humor, of course, did not save his marriage to Sasha. And they're going to get divorced.
He threw it in Crenna's face?
In Crenna's face. In his face. Now listen, if you're a high roller, because he's free now and you want a date with Stallone, right? If the Sands Hotel in Atlantic City is actually saying if you spend $15,000 at the tables, you can go to a cocktail party with about 150 other people. And if you're spending $25,000, candlelight dinner with Stallone. But remember, if you order pie, you might be gambling with trouble.
That's right. You may get it in the face. Is that it?
That's it. Till
wow,
Wednesday.
I got to tell you, pins and needles with our Couri Hay. We'll be right back with our own presidential feast in just a moment, and also some new ways to stop smoking.
Tell it the way it is.
Okay, Elizabeth Taylor set tongues wagging in Santa Barbara, where she vacationed with 24-year-old TV star Joseph Bottoms, while hubby John Werner was nowhere in sight. Onlookers were startled to see Liz and Joe frolicking through the sand dunes like a couple of kids and strolling arm in arm down the beach.
That's the truth. That's the way it was.
Now, are you sure that they weren't filming a scene from the
Positive.
film?
They, of course, did do that, and they became quite close friends. So they vacationed together. She loves young men and the company of young actors. She chose him personally for that film, The Return Engagement. And Liz doesn't hang around with a lot of stuffy politicians. She's on the ball. She likes
But you can't
action.
leave us hanging like this, Couri. Is something going to develop out of this?
I don't know. I wasn't in the...
yes.
You know.
You weren't.
We'll have to see. I mean, when they first got married, I mean, Warner and Elizabeth were never out of each other's sight. And then when they lost the campaign, of course, that may be reversing now that the opponent who beat him died. They were together all the time. Now, she's been encouraged to go out on her own a little bit, and let's see what happens.
Get back to work?
Get back to work.
Is this the first thing that she has been
Absolutely, and the first TV thing that she's done at all for a long time.
Couri, has anyone ever come after you with a gun or their fists or anything?
Not that I know of.
No, really? You've never been threatened?
Oh,
or
no.
admonished,
Well,
or?
I've had a few phone calls, you know, that people say things and hang up. I get a little nervous about those. But basically, I mean, the column is all true. It's all fairly innocent, really. I mean...
What's happening with Christina Onassis and the marriage? Is she going to stay married to this Russian man, or is she going to divorce him? What's going to happen?
I don't even think Christina knows that. I mean, that girl's a little mixed up, and I know her. But we all knew something was going on when she didn't show up at Maxime's for that party for Princess Caroline's wedding. And all the news about the KGB agent connections for her comrade hubby kind of did concern her and, of course, the people that run her empire as well as the family. So they called her back to Athens, as you all know. But, secret information, she's flown back. What'll happen? We don't know. They're denying a split. They're denying a divorce. But Christina's had a pretty poor track record on the marriage route.
Who is the key person that you look for in gossip columns? Is it Princess Grace? Who's the hot item?
Well, I don't think there's any really particular, just one person, Regis. I mean, we're looking for people that have just made films. Like Warren Beatty's got a film out, so we were interested in that face peel Dr. Starks gave him here in Beverly Hills with Elaine Bomas. We're interested in people who have films.
What face peel was that? I haven't heard too
Well,
much
you didn't
about
know?
it. No, I didn't know.
During Heaven Can
What do you
Wait.
think? Huh?
During Heaven
What do you
Can
think?
Wait? No.
Well, Warren was a little concerned about his image because he hasn't made a film for a while, and he's used to being the kind of, you know, the sex symbol, and he wanted to look his best, and he wasn't really happy with a lot of the scenes, so he had a lot of them reshot because he didn't like all those little wrinkles. He didn't like them so much that he finally decided to go off to Elaine Bomas and Dr. Starks and just have a chemical face peel. It's a fabulous new method, and they just sort of peel it. It's not a lift. It's nothing cutting. It's just a chemical. And now he's as smooth as a blankety blank.
Really?
And I saw him not too long ago on the corner with Diane Keaton in New York, holding hands and looking for an apartment together, helping her find that perfect co-op where he can visit. And he looked just great. And why not? Why not?
But hasn't
Let him peel it.
Why not? I've got no reason why he can't find an apartment with Diane Keaton.
Right, absolutely.
Does Diane Keaton want to find an apartment with Warren, though?
No, there's the problem.
I heard that she is denying that their relationship is continuing.
Now, I just saw them 2 weeks ago, you know.
Oh, our Couri just saw them.
Hey, this is an eyewitness report we're talking about.
This is an eyewitness report. And there they were, the newspaper in hand. She's looking for a co-op. He's helping her go right around looking it out. That is a fact.
Well, did you put it in the column?
I don't put everything in the column.
Well, what are you saving it for? Those are two of the biggest names.
Saving it for you.
Those are the two of the biggest names in the business.
I'm saving it for you.
There's a reason you didn't put it in. It's because it's not verified.
That is not true. It's
you didn't have another
verified.
witness beside. You need two witnesses for these items.
There was somebody with me.
I know every move you make,
Zandra Rhodes is back. Said to say hello, by the way.
I want to ask you,
what is our witnesses around?
What does R stand for? I
Ruthless?
have to know.
No.
Ruthless.
No, Robert. Actually.
Robert.
Bob Couri Hay will be back in just a minute. We'll put him on the phone. Stay with us.
Good question for R. Couri.
Okay, we're back now with R. Couri Hay. We'll go to our phones. Good morning. You're on AM.
Yes, any new spicy information about Jackie Kennedy?
Lots. The latest on Jackie is she just spent $375,000 for Leonard Bernstein's house in East Hampton, so you can expect to see her walking barefoot on the beach. Remember, Jackie always behaves impeccably, so there's never anything really very nasty or mean to say about Jackie because she's really quite well behaved. Romance, nothing hot and heavy, not right now.
You know, I'm amazed at that price for the plush Leonard Bernstein's East Hampton.
Not if you saw it.
Why?
It is beautiful. Oh,
yeah, but let me tell you something. Out here, that's a down payment on
Right.
the place.
Well, this is East Hampton, you know, not Beverly Hills.
But it's
Where they've got some lawn.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
You're selling cubic inches.
Good morning, you're on AM.
Hi, Regis, right there.
Hi.
Hey, I want to know how's it in the set between John Travolta and Lily Tomlin?
Well, it's pretty good between the two, but let's face it, John's not too happy about the fact that June Wagner, the director, is Lily Tomlin's live-in roommate, and of course, Lily and June are very close, and naturally, when it comes to directorial things, June seems to side with Lily.
I think it's Jane. Yes.
Jane, you're right.
She's no longer directing.
She wasn't my roommate. Was she yours?
No.
Okay.
She's no longer directing the movie, is she?
I wouldn't want to say that right now, but I believe she's very much involved in it. They tried to take her off, and they all stood by her. But there's been a little friction because of the fact that Jane is always siding with Lily.
But on the other hand, John's relationship with Lily, I understand, is very close.
Well, he said that. Now, he said that.
And of course, well, when filming was stopped for a couple of days, when John made all those demands about an Art Deco dressing room and this and that, but of course he calmed down and everything's okay now.
Well, that's good. There's one item about John Travolta in here. Now, listen, look how things are exaggerated.
Now, wait a minute,
yes,
Regis.
This is a terrific
Were you
example
there?
of how they exaggerate
Were you
things.
there?
Were
No,
you
but it's just
there?
the way
Were
you
you
word
there?
things.
Were you there?
Here, TV behind the
No
scenes.
answer.
A sloppily dressed John Travolta.
And he was.
Okay, could be casually dressed. Nobody dresses out here in California.
He was sloppy.
Came charging into Dan Tanner's crowded Hollywood eatery and demanded a table for dinner, even though he had no reservation.
No reservation.
People go all the time without making reservations.
He's a star. He shouldn't look a mess. I think it's ridiculous.
The man-
John Travolta shouldn't look like John Travolta. I mean, the idea
But
of
they
him
all
coming in a
dress
mess.
casually out here.
Well, it's time they
The
stopped being
unimpressed
so
Maida
casual
D
and
replied
returned the
that
glamour
John
to
would have
Hollywood.
to wait at least an hour because the place was packed. An hour? I'm not going to wait an hour, huffed the hot-headed actor.
And off he went.
Are you sure that's a direct quote?
I'm positive that's a direct
Okay,
quote.
maybe he
Okay.
said an hour. Gee, I can't wait an hour.
No.
He turned around and walked out.
Right.
That's
Regis.
how it really happened. But by the time you guys get through with it, it's a major case.
By the time you
hot-headed
get through
actor.
with it, it's a major case, Regis.
Good morning, you're
By
on
the time
AM.
you get through with it.
Hello,
that's
you're
the
on
way it
AM.
happened, and you can believe
Boys,
me.
boys. Now.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I on?
Indeed.
Yes,
Okay.
you're on.
I wanted to know, is Princess Caroline and Philippe, are either of them temperamental people? And if so, also, are they always disco king and queen? I mean, when are they going to settle down and get a family and get a house and everything? I always
just
see
got
them in
married.
restaurants and in discos all the time.
All the time.
Well, they
discos.
may have just got married, but they've been close for about 7 months, let's face it. And you read it first from me that they were in love and going to get married. Well, Princess Caroline is a famous hothead. I mean, her mother can't get along with her, her father can't get along with her. They hate Jeannot, they don't trust him, his background's fuzzy. Rainer's going to have to support them. Jeannot hasn't got a penny. I mean, there's a real problem here. But Caroline told him 7 months in advance, I'm going to marry him, and there's nothing you can do about it. They tried everything, and she went ahead and she married him. When are they going to settle down? They're going back right now, and you read it in the Inquirer first, to their Paris apartment. She's going to decorate it, and they're going to settle down. She wants 4 kids. Of course, Princess Grace has advised her to wait, and secretly inside, the family members are all hoping the marriage will end within a year, because then it could be annulled, and within the eyes of the church, they won't have been married at all, and that would make Rainier very happy because of all those Arabs that Jeannot is talking to and all those land deals and things that's making Rainier very nervous.
Hey, I'm very interested in Jeannot. What's so fuzzy about his background?
Well, I mean, the guy's never really worked except in that hamburger joint where they fired him for making long-distance calls in the company bill. He's had every beautiful lady in Paris. I mean,
Fuzzy.
Fuzzy. The guy doesn't have a job. How's he going to support a
and
princess?
Princess Caroline, I understand, forced him to shave off the mustache that he
right.
grew on the honeymoon.
That's right.
Dynamite. You heard it
the
first
grandmother.
here on
Right
this show.
here on this show.
No. You read it first in my column.
Good morning.
Don't you forget it.
Good morning, you're on AM.
Good morning.
I'm going to talk about you in a minute.
I'd like to know, is it true, I'm just hearing rumors, but is it true that Farrah Fawcett Majors and Lee Majors is getting a divorce?
Is it true?
Well, I mean, it would be a bad idea commercially, wouldn't it? Because the two of them together make a lot of money, and being together is what America wants them to be. They've had their problems, don't forget, and you read it in my column first, that little affair she had with Jeff Bridges, and I have that kissing and hugging and eyewitnesses down the line. No matter what you hear, you can believe it. Lee was in a huff. He had her clocked coming in and out of the hotel and the apartment where she was staying, what time she came in. He had spies. He was extremely upset. Farrah, as you'll notice on that shampoo line she has dropped the word Majors. It's just Farrah Fawcett. What's going to happen? I'm not Lee, I'm not Farrah, but keep reading and I'll tell you.
Now, wait.
Holy cow. Wouldn't it be funny if we pulled his head off and it was Rona Barrett sitting here?
You can forget it. Rona won't even come on here anymore, you know that.
Now, wait
a minute. Just hold everything.
Hey,
I didn't know that.
Didn't you?
No. Why won't she come on here?
Are you sure you want me to tell?
Yeah.
Well, I'd heard that... Now, I can't give away any sources, but I'd heard there'd been a few problems between you and Rona. Isn't that true?
Never.
Well, I know that this is the anniversary of Elvis Presley's death.
Yes.
And wasn't it true that Rona went on and talked about that drug overdose she died of? And wasn't the fact that you went back on the air, because I think a friend of mine saw the show, and it was actually Betamax for me, and you sort of said, now, Rona, you know, blah, 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 and then I heard she hasn't done the show since. Is it a fact or not? Has she been on the show in the last year?
As a matter of fact, she has not. And let me also say this, and remind Rona, too, if she's listening, that was a filmed interview, that at Rona's request was not aired, and never was aired, and never was mentioned. So I don't know what you're talking about, if that's the same thing.
Have you heard anything?
It's the only thing that we did together about Elvis Presley. It never aired, no one has ever seen it, and that was the end of that.
Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean I haven't. What?
Now, I give you... Wait a minute. Let me put it to you this way.
Okay.
I give you $10,000, right out of her pocketbook, if you have seen that film.
When you show me the money, I'll see what I can do.
You can't have seen it. It's my personal property. I have it completely locked up. No one will ever see that.
There are a lot of things locked up that I see.
Now, here's what I think happened. I think that our Couri has started this rumor. It got back to Rona, and Rona's mad at us for some reason.
Oh, now, wait a minute.
We haven't had Rona in a year on this show.
And I haven't mentioned
it before
this moment.
And to my knowledge, she has never turned down an appearance on our show for any other reason than perhaps a conflict of schedule.
But you bring up something that Rona requested me not to use, and we didn't use.
Oh, she requested you not to use it.
She thought it over, and it's her prerogative, and we decided not to use that.
But she still hasn't been on, has she?
We haven't asked her, to my knowledge.
See. Is Rona going to be
Call
on
Rona's
within the next 30 days?
If she'll come on with us. I want to see how mad she is at me. She's not mad at me.
Okay.
You may be mad at me, R. Couri.
I may be
mad at you, which I really am right now.
You can be mad.
Hey, R. Couri, you're the greatest.
I'm
There's
used
no
to
doubt
people
about
being
it.
mad at me.
I enjoy the column very much.
Well, thank you very much.